And welcome back, everyone, to Pokemon Team Videos. Today's Pokemon Team video comes from us from Mission Paw Marshall, who asked the question, what is the Pokemon team of the Sage of Six Paths himself, Hagoromo? Now, this proved to be quite a challenge. Like, there was a couple I knew right off the bat, like one or two I knew right off the bat were going on the team. But this proved to be a real freaking challenge because A, we just don't know a lot about this guy overall. Like, we know a lot in the sense of who he was, what he represented, the history stuff, but we don't actually know him personally. We see him a little bit in the original series of Naruto in terms of Shippuden. And he does interact with people a little bit, but that's a vestige. He's basically there for exposition and things along those lines. So we really don't get that much of a character with this guy. But I did the best I could, and I think I made a decent enough team, but I'll get your opinion at the end for that. So first up, being that he's kind of considered the god of Shinobi, I had to consider the god of Pokemon, Arceus, in there. Add on to the fact that, you know, he's the Sage of Six Paths, has multiple paths, multiple abilities, and Hands of Creation. I figured it made sense to have the god who could be any and all types on the team. Add on to the fact that he's the god of all Pokemon, has basically the highest base stat total of any Pokemon there is, outside of Mega Evolution and Gigantamax, or Eternamax in Eternus' case. But it makes sense that he'd be a main Pokemon on Hagoromo's team. Then, in terms of the other Pokemon I knew I wanted on the team, because he's a Sage, and there really isn't much in terms of a Sage-like Pokemon. Like, there's Pokemon I think that have Sage in their name, but I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. Or kind of like a Sage-like Tenchi. I'm like, not much I can really go off of for Sage. But, I mean, Oranguru is a Psychic type. So, I believe it's a Psychic Normal type, which allows you to use some of Hagoromo's extra abilities like Shinra Tensei for gravity release, gravity control, things along those lines. But also, a Guru and a Sage are not mutually exclusive. They can be one and the same. It's a very intelligent, very peaceful Pokemon. So, and it's capable of using tools, which Six Path Sage was known for using. So, I felt like that was actually an okay choice. Now we get into, like, everything else where it's like, okay, how the hell do I do this? So there is a Pokemon that can represent the fact that he sealed the Ten-Tails body in the moon. Lunatone. That's really where I'm going with this. You can also get the gravity release going there if you want. But really, it's the fact that it is a Pokemon that is basically the moon. And I could have put Lunala on the team because it is also the moon Pokemon, but no, that did not feel right. It's moon in name, not in really what it represents at all. So in that case, no, I didn't feel it was worth it. And this is a Psychic Rock type, so you can actually represent the so you can see it representing the actual moon itself in terms of what the Ten-Tails was sealed in. Speaking of the Ten-Tails, the fact that he basically became the first Jinchuriki of the Ten-Tails, no less, I knew I needed a Pokemon that could kind of represent that. And I actually ended up with two. The first one that came on the list here was Zygarde, complete form. Now, Zygarde is made up of multiple little minor Zygarde cells. So I actually didn't mind the idea of Zygarde being the representation of Ten-Tails, being that it's actually, you know, all the tail beasts combined into one, being the representation of the Ten-Tails. Out of the fact that it is a Pokemon that can learn up to 14 different types of attacks in terms of typing water or fire, that kind of thing. As far as I could tell, there was only like 4 different types it couldn't learn. It couldn't learn any fairy moves. It couldn't learn any electric or water moves. And if I remember correctly, it couldn't learn any ice-type moves. Other than that, though, it could learn just about anything, which could represent, the Rinnegan, Sharingan, Hagoromo's ability just to create and learn just so much. But the other Pokemon I chose to represent the Ten-Tails, I think actually works a bit better, because the Ten-Tails is very just a malevolent force in nature. It's not necessarily evil, but it's not good either. And what I actually liked is the idea of Spiritomb. Spiritomb being a collection of 100 souls, an odd keystone put into a rock, and this malevolent spirit composed of all these different souls coming to the fray. And ultimately, I like that idea because it also represents the more spiritual aspects of Hagoromo, especially when it came back as a ghost. So I kind of like Spiritomb as the more malevolent spirit that was sealed away. Last but not least, though, this guy. Now, this Pokemon, I had to think, I'm like, okay, Hagoromo, he is the ancestor to all shinobi, the creator of ninjutsu, or ninchu, as I believe it was called when he created it. The creator of that, though. And he pretty much could create and learn any jutsu, really. And I'm thinking on that, I'm like, okay, think, well, what about Metronome? Okay, Metronome can literally do anything. So, that could work out well for a Pokemon Hagoromo's team. But okay, there's what Pokemon can learn a Metronome. Let's look. And then I remembered, I'm like, oh yeah, I completely forgot about this. When you're talking about the ancestor or something, you gotta talk about the one that's considered the ancestor of all Pokemon, Mew. Mew is capable of learning any technique on its own, but also capable, including Metronome, but is considered to be the ancestor to all modern Pokemon, in theory. So, honestly, this made 100% sense to me, that Mew should be on the team. But ultimately, this is just my thoughts for a team. This is a particularly hard character to create a team for. Hagoromo, again, Mew and Arceus to represent Goddess Shinobi, ancestor of all Shinobi and Ninjutsu. So Lunatone to represent the moon itself. Oranguru represents the sage aspect of him. And Spiritomb and Zygarde to represent the 10 tails and the sheer power that Hagoromo possessed. Zygarde is pretty freaking powerful. So that's my take on what Hagoromo, the Sage Six Paths Pokemon team, would be. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree, and if you disagree, what would you make his team out to be? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you folks next time.